Please kindly.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. So, shall we recap what we have discussed in the last session? I think I'm audible. Yes? Okay. Yesterday, we started with the introduction to the smart PLS, how we interpret, etc. And we were discussing about the types of mediation and moderation. And in moderation, we were discussing about mediated moderation. And in mediated moderation, I also told that the mediated moderation, it also called as interaction moderation. So we stopped with categorical moderation. It's like when you have a categorical moderator and when you test for the whole model. In case of the moderated mediation, the mediator, the moderator is only for between the relationship, while in case of this multi-group analysis, if the moderator, the categorical moderator, if it is for the whole environment, it is for the whole model, then we generally go for this multi-group analysis. And I told that there is a difference between control variable and this moderator. And in case of this categorical moderator, for example, the gender, and I've also shown you one data set where it is there in Smart PLS corporate reputation data set, where it has got the service provider of 1 and 2. It's like whether they are postpaid or prepaid. So I think this is what we have seen yesterday. So today what we are going to see is that we will be discussing how to do multi-group analysis and how to interpret the multi-group analysis result. And I'll touch upon the FIMIX. So it's like finite mixture. And then we will discuss something about, it's like we can discuss about FIMIX in detail. So it's like it explains about the unobserved heterogeneity. So, and after that, I'll end up with an introduction to the necessary condition analysis. Why necessary condition analysis and what is this FSQCA, fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis? For that, we can't do it in the software, but I'll give an introduction to what is NCA and what is FSQCA. Okay, so before that, can somebody tell me what is the difference between the control variable and the moderator? Can one of you tell me what is the difference between the control variable and the moderator? We discussed about this. Yes. Okay. By any chance, I didn't get any reply. By any chance, have you referred the Smart PLS website and tried downloading the software?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I have.
You've given a link.
I've given a link, but it's like the process is something different. What you need to do, it's like you need to, 1 minute. When you click this link, it will land into this page. So in this page, first you need to go to the download. So it is asking for whether it's 30-day trial. So it's like, first we need to download for the, most of us will have the Windows. If you have a MacBook, download it over here. And after downloading it, if it is for the 30 days trial, you need to, okay, when you click for this free 30 days trial, you can download it and you need to send a mail because you need a license. So you can go for the purchase option also, but if it is a purchase option only for the student license, it is free and it is only for small projects. You cannot offer the large projects. It's like if the data size is more than 100, I think till 100 they'll allow, but if it is more than 200, it will not allow. So only you can use it from the 30 days trial. So this is the software, you can download it and then you can get a license and install it. So after installing, it will be there in the Windows command, and I'm opening the Smart PLS 4 software. Okay. Yes, this is actually the software. When you open this, you will land into this page. Generally, you will be having this example like corporate reputation. They will have, as I think they have only the ACSI and corporate reputation. In corporate reputation, you have advanced as well as you have a simple model. Okay, here the PLS SEM book, corporate reputation extended. So yesterday we were discussing about this corporate reputation model only. So the advanced model we have seen over here, where the customer loyalty is the outcome variable, while the customer satisfaction is the mediator between the CSOR attributes, performance, quality, and this all leads to customer loyalty. So on showing this model, so I also told that when you want to drag and drop the latent variable, I think I haven't shown that. Today it is ready. I'll show you. Okay, this is actually the model generally we will draw. So I'll make a new model. So with this apparel response, new PLS SEM model. So I'm giving the project as fandom. Model name is PLS SEM new, and I'm giving save. Once I give save, I land into this page. So I have already uploaded this data set where it has got this indicator. Okay, so we have this indicator over there like PBR, as I said yesterday, it's positive brand referral, oppositional brand referral, and we have other variables. So when you want to draw a model first, you need to select this latent variable. The first step in drawing the model is that you have to draw the latent variable. So before that, I will show this model. In case of fandom model, when you see you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 latent variables. So we need to draw 6 latent variable. While this is brand engagement, this is evangelism, and this is self-brand connection, and this is brand personality, brand intention, so something like that. So I'll just show you how to draw the model. Okay, so this PLS SEM new, so latent variable, I need to type in as brand evangelism and click enter. And then again, I click over here. When I click somewhere, it's like brand engagement and click. And again, when you click somewhere, it is like brand involvement. So you can make the latent variable like this, but when you want to move hover over around, then you need to select the select and you can make it over here. For example, this is the independent variable, this is the mediator, and this is the outcome variable. I need to connect it. For connecting it, you need to select again the connect button and you need to click it over here. So now, since it doesn't have indicators, it is in this color. When you want to bring the indicators, it is there here. For example, I can select this and I can drag and drop here. When I drag and drop here, you will get the indicators likewise. You can also arrange this indicator in whatever way you want. Okay, so when you want to do that, again, you need to go to select and right click it, and you can align the indicators to the left. So for the brand engagement, For example, if you are doing this and you are dragging and dropping over here, you can also align the indicators at the top. For example, in most of the cases, I generally hide my indicators. So if you hide the indicators will not be there, but it is present, but it will not be shown. In many of the cases, for example, in this case, when you see here, this is a latent variable. And when I show indicators, it will be too clumsy when I make all the indicators to show over here. So that is the reason generally I do hide the indicators. You can also hide the indicators. And yesterday we have also discussed about the formative model and reflective model. So when you see this brand engagement, so this is said to be formative or reflective. This is said to be formative or reflective.
Formative?
I thought that somebody would tell that, but the
It
formative
is
and
reflect.
reflective is the relationship between the variables to the indicators and not between the variables.
Ah,
I
yes.
have
Yes, you had
shown two
mentioned.
latent.
Yes.
That's why you generally will get confused. That's why I asked this question. So I have shown two variables. So this formative and reflective is only for the outer model and not for the inner model. The model what I have shown is the inner model. So across the variables, there is nothing called as reflective or formative. So you should be very clear in that. Okay, going back to that again. Okay. Okay, when I come over here, I go back again to the corporate reputation model because we discussed about the corporate reputation model. When I go to the corporate reputation model, I said that when I see over here, there is service provider, service type, and there are many scale variables. When you see the service type is the 0 and 1 variable, that is the binary variable. So now we are going to see how to apply binary variable because the multi-group analysis is generally for the binary variable. And generally in PLS, only you can test for two groups, whether it is categorical or continuous. Even if it is continuous, you need to convert that into categorical moderator and then only you can apply. So when you want to generate the groups, you need to do that separately. For example, go back, complete data. So I'm going for complete data. When you want to generate groups, you should not go to the model. You should go to this complete. It's like the data set. When you see the data set here, there is something called generate groups. There is something called generate groups. So when you click this generate groups, it will tell you whether it's service provider or service type. As discussed, we have selected the service type and the minimum cases group is 10 and I've given apply. So I have made many times. So I am just deleting it and then doing it again or else we'll all get confused. Okay, I'm generating groups with the service type. Okay, and for the group one, we can tell the name as prepaid and okay, prepaid one. Okay, 1 minute. I have this dollar and one because that is the format. I only type prepaid and give apply. Okay, so you can edit it over here. So I am making this as prepaid, apply, and this is edit, and this is postpaid. Okay. Okay. So when you see here, the number of cases. Is that the number of responses from prepaid customers is 125, where from the postpaid customer we got is 219. Okay. So coming to the data balance, whether this data is balanced or imbalanced. So what will happen to this type of data? So this is 215 or 218, while the other is 125. So what will happen if the data is like this?
Yes, you had
It,
mentioned yesterday that it is not, not, you used a word. It's not,
it's
yes,
skewed. Actually,
yes,
it is skewed. It is
correct.
like that is said to be data imbalance. It's like if one of the group is heavily loaded, there is a high probability that when you derive the outcome will be skewed towards the data or the group which is high in number, where the respondents are high in number. That is said to be skewed. Okay. So that will be the problem. So while you are collecting the data, you should be very careful. But anyway, we will do this analysis now with this data. Okay. Okay. So when you go over here, we have generated the groups and I'm going back. I'm going to the corporate reputation model and now I am calculating it. You have generated the groups. Okay. Now, what you need to do, you need to bootstrap the multi-group analysis. Before that, generally for the smart PLS, the first step to find out the path coefficient is to run the PLS SEM algorithm. When you run this PLS SEM algorithm, it will ask by default, it will be in path only. So you cannot change anything, but please only select the start calculation. Once you give start calculation, you will get this model output where the value which is mentioned over there 0.465, this is all said to be path coefficient. When you want to get the final results, in the left hand side you have final results and you have path coefficient. So in the path coefficient, go and see for the matrix. So you will get the matrix like from attribution to composite, it is 0.085. It is contributing 8.5 percentage, while this is contributing 37.8 percentage. Yesterday I told that path coefficient is something related to the factor loading. It is like how much variance the indicator is explaining the variable. Okay, that is what. So this is one of the path coefficient generally you will see. And since it has got, okay, so you need to go. I also spoke about this discriminant validity, where discriminant validity is established using heterotrait monotrait ratio. So whenever in smart PLS if something is in green color, it means you are on the safer side. If something on the red color, it means it's alerting. Okay. So earlier, the discriminant validity was established using this Forner-Lacker criterion. So I think you know the Forner-Lacker criterion where this 0.8301866, this is all said to be average variance extracted square root. So generally, if this value is higher, while this is said to be diagonal values, this 0.8301, 0.86 is, when this diagonal values are higher than the off diagonal elements, then you say that there is no problem of multicollinearity and there exists the discriminant validity. So this is one of the measure generally you will, it's like report, and then you need to report this. We have latent variable scores. Okay. Coming to construct reliability and validity. This is what I said yesterday. You need to report this average variance extracted and composite reliability. As far as average variance extracted and composite variability, the cutoff value for average variance extracted is greater than 0.6. in some of the cases where you can tell it's a second order model, in that case, average variance extracted, if it is less than 0.6, then you should consider the composite reliability value. And when the composite reliability value is more than 0.8, then there is no problem. Again, you might have known the Cronbach's alpha. Cronbach's alpha is a measure to establish the reliability of the data. So the Cronbach's alpha is also given over here. So you need to report everything when you run this PLS algorithm. But this is not the only thing you need to report. You need to come back and go to calculate and give bootstrapping. So in the bootstrapping, generally the sum samples we consider is 5,000. Okay. So you should not do anything with that. You give calculation and it will take some time to give the output. And the output, what it is giving is all p-values. So you all know if the p-value is less than 0.05, then that path is significant. So this all shows you that this path is not significant. So this result can also be got from this mean standard deviation. Okay, so you got this p-values. When you see over here, this comp to loyalty is 0.058. So it is not less than 0.05. So this path is not significant. Even though your path coefficient is higher, if your path is not significant, it means that there is no relationship. So you need to report both the path coefficient as well as the significance values. So this is what the basic SMART PLS is. Now we are going to do the multi-group analysis. For doing the multi-group analysis, you need to bootstrap the multi-group analysis. Okay, so coming to this, I think a window is open. Is it visible to you? Like bootstrap multi-group analysis MGA setup.
This is showing the bootstrapping result. Other window is not open. This is the PLS corporate reputation model, which we can see.
Oh, okay. That is not visible. 1 minute then. I'll stop sharing and do that again. Okay. Now is that visible? That standard algorithm is I am showing.
Yes, ma'am, it is. It is.
Okay. So
Yes,
here,
yes.
when you come down, you can see it's, so before that, when I shown some PLSM algorithm, nothing was shown to you?
No.
Oh, you should have alerted me, right?
We are still figuring it out. It all sounds so cool. Sorry.
Okay.
Well,
I
I
thought
think
that you were
with
seeing.
no, but you were showing us about 0.05, the path significance and all that.
Oh, that is all you can
Yeah,
see.
that we saw because
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
because that we
Okay.
saw the red mark, which was less than, which
Ah,
was more than
yes,
0.05, that we saw.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, okay, then okay. Okay, so you need to do bootstrap multi-group analysis. When you see bootstrap multi-group analysis, it was telling the service provider. So I did multiple times. That's why it is showing service provider 1 plus 2, service provider 3 plus 4. I think I need to do it with the other model. I'll just replicate the model. Okay, when I want to replicate the model, I duplicate it. Okay, corporate reputation model 1. Okay, when I go to corporate reputation model 1, calculate. Okay, wait, I'll delete all the groups. Clear groups. Okay, now I'll generate the groups. I'll generate the groups with the help of service type. So generate groups, service type, and I'm giving apply. Now I can edit it. This is actually prepaid, apply, and this is actually postpaid, apply. Okay, now I have done. I can go back and go to corporate reputation model 1, calculate. Now I can do the bootstrap multi-group analysis. Still it is showing like that. I don't know why it is showing. One minute. Okay, I need to choose the service type.
Yeah, ma'am, I think you have to choose the thing. That's why the tick is
Service
not
type,
there.
service type. No, service type. I clear
Okay.
groups, generate groups, service type, apply. Okay. And edit, prepaid, apply, edit, postpaid, apply. Come back. Now I calculate bootstrap multi-group. It's still showing. I did with service type only. Okay, so I'll go with this. I got the service type. I don't know why it is
Ma'am,
showing only service provider.
do we not have to click any of these? I mean, in group
I
A
need
and
to
group
click,
B?
but we need to choose that. But here, the prepaid and postpaid should come. That's what my
Ah,
worry
okay,
is.
okay, right.
It is
Right. Why is
showing
it not
service
showing? Okay,
provider.
yeah, it's still showing.
Ah,
Right,
service provider. That is the
right.
problem. Wait,
Okay.
anyway, I'll just duplicate this complete data also. Complete data 1 or 1 minute. I'll close it and I'll open it again. I'll go with this extended model. Service type, give apply, edit. Okay, I'll have this group 1 itself. Okay, now go to this extended model and calculate. Yeah, now I got it. So here consider the group 1 as the prepaid and group 2 as postpaid. So we need to select group A and group B. Why we are selecting group A and group B? Because you will get a beta value. The beta value is the path coefficient value. For example, now we are finding out the difference between group A and group B. So the group what we are selecting will be subtracted from the group B. So if we get a beta value of negative, that means that the group B is higher, but when you get a beta value as positive, it means that the group A is higher. So it's like, for example, the customer satisfaction, the customer loyalty, the beta coefficient is negative. In that case, what you can tell that is like comparing to group A prepaid customer, the customer satisfaction leads to loyalty is higher in group B customer. So that's why We are very keen in choosing group A and group B. So I have selected group A. This is prepaid customer as group 1 and the postpaid customer as group 2. If you select the same group over here, it will not allow you. So you need to select the two different groups and then you start the calculation. When you, okay, it will take some time. It will give you the output. Okay. Can you see over here? It's minus 0.07. It means that for the postpaid customers, the quality and that too the quality too. It is actually the question which is measured. So that is high. Again, when you see this corporate social responsibility, the CSOR is corporate social responsibility. And this beta value is also negative. It means that corporate social responsibility leads to this satisfaction.com only for or higher in case of postpaid customers. That is happening for this performance to likability also. That is minus 0.02. That is what we generally infer from the multi-group analysis. So the multi-group analysis is one where a categorical data is applied to the whole model and you will get a two different model. So you can also see this over here, path coefficient. When you click this path coefficient, you will get this bootstrap MGA. When you click this bootstrap MGA, it's like this is actually the outcome. So you can see this is all, whether it's significant or insignificant. Even if it is all insignificant, you don't worry about it. In this case, only this customer satisfaction leads to loyalty and likability leads to customer loyalty or all significant. But generally, you need to see this beta value. You need to see this beta value, whether it is positive or negative. So since we have considered prepaid customers as group 1 and postpaid customers as group 2, so it is clearly written group 1 minus group 2. So if it is positive, it means that this CUSA is high. The customer satisfaction leads to customer loyalty is higher for the prepaid customers rather than the postpaid customers. It is group 1 value might be higher. That's why it is positive. On the other hand, when you see here, this likability leads to customer loyalty. This value is negative. What does it tells that? Compared to prepaid and postpaid customers. So group 1 is prepaid, group 2 is postpaid. Compared to prepaid and postpaid customers, in case of postpaid customers, the likability is directly leading to customer loyalty. So this is what generally you need to interpret from the multi-group analysis. Okay. So this is what multi-group analysis. But you will have a doubt. In many of the cases, we will have a continuous variable rather than the categorical variable, right? You do have a continuous variable rather than the categorical variable. In that case, can you guess what can be done? You can also do that in Smart PLS. What generally we will do? What can be done? Any guess? Anybody knows about the concept of interquartile range? Anybody knows the concept of interquartile range? We generally call that as IQR. This is said to be interquartile range. Anybody knows about interquartile range?
I'm the only one who will say no.
Okay. Others,
At
it's
least
like,
something, yes, at least something is coming back. But you had mentioned about the interquartile range yesterday. You did make a passing mention about it,
yes,
but
yes,
we didn't
yes.
really discuss it too much because you mentioned about the mean and the
Oh,
bifurcation of the data around the mean. And you mentioned Q1, Q2, Q3. So, as a statistics thing, yes, the range is what is the highest to the lowest value. And then you
yes,
have the
Q3
quartiles.
minus
Yes.
Q1. So it is said to be quartiles. Dr. Rajib has told it's Q3 minus Q1. Okay. Generally, this interquartile range is used in finding out the outliers. Okay. Interquartile range is finding out the outliers. Why I want to bring this interquartile range? Because generally for finding out the interquartile range, we'll find out the median, we'll find out the upper bound, we will find out the lower bound. And then we will find the median of both of the upper and lower bound. And then only we will find the interquartile range. Likewise, here, when you are collecting data, you know about Likert scale, right? Likert scale generally is of 5 point, 7 point, and in some cases, it will be 9 point. So, in case of Likert scaling, when you collect the data and you want to use the continuous moderator as the old model, it's like for the old model, you're going to apply the continuous moderator. What you can do, it's like you can find out the median of the data. You can find out the median of the continuous data, and you can bifurcate into two halves. So this is what generally we do with the interquartile range. So likewise, we need to find out the median point, and based on the median point, we can bifurcate into lower bound and upper bound. Likewise, here you can also generate groups. So how to generate groups? So here you can generate groups. So gently how you will go? You will go to this corporate reputation data. You will generate groups. Before generating groups, clear the groups. So this generate groups is generally used for categorical variable. For example, you want to make the groups. In that case, you need to add group. When you need to add group, you need to give a group name. For example, I am giving a group name as group underscore one, same name. You need to choose the indicator. So for example, the indicator what I am choosing is the switch one. Okay, switch one. It is telling you for is equal to, is higher than, is lower than. For this only, I told that you need to find out the median separately there in the Excel sheet. After finding out that, you need to tell that is higher than. So is higher than, for example, 4 is higher than 3. Then you need to give the value. Again, you can add one more term. Now you can tell switch to. It is showing us the indicators, and likewise you can form the groups and then test for the multi-group analysis. This is what multi-group analysis is. So it's a categorical moderator. You can convert the category into dummy variable and then do the analysis. Okay. Next, coming to phimics. Coming to phimics. In case of this multi-group analysis, you know that there exist two groups in case of categorical moderator. In case of continuous moderator, you know that you can bifurcate the data based on the median. But generally, if you are collecting the data by itself will have some heterogeneity. Okay, I think I have a PPT. Excuse me. 1 minute. Sorry. Okay. So it is called as finite mixture. Phimics PLS is a segmentation technique generally used for this latent variable modeling. So, as I said, in case of this, what you can call this categorical moderator or multi-group analysis, or there, in the multi-group analysis, you know that this many segments are available or this many categories are available. And even if you have continuous data, you know that how to bifurcate the data. But there will be some amount of heterogeneity associated with your model. That heterogeneity is said to be the response heterogeneity. It's like you have many responses. So based on the responses, even if you know that you are collecting it from generation Z and male and female are different, but even in male and female, you can see that there exists some difference across the same gender. But that unobserved heterogeneity should be identified or should be captured using this Phimics PLS. Why you need to capture this unobserved heterogeneity is because, for example, when you do an advertisement, you think that this product is for this gender or this type of people, and you categorize the people only under two categories. But truthfully speaking, for that product, you can have 3 or 4 variants because the expected participants are more than 2. In that case, you need to understand the consumer behavior. So that's why we generally go for Phimics PLS. Or else, what we can say is that when you want to find out the outliers, there will be some people who are said to be outliers. So in order to find out the outliers also, you can do this Phimics PLS. Okay. So this is actually a segmentation technique. Okay. And coming to this Phimics PLS, you all know about cluster analysis. So what is cluster analysis? Can somebody help me in this? What is cluster analysis?
Ma'am, as the name suggests, I think we put based on similarities, we put the sample or the data into clusters. Will it be
Okay.
data
Thanks.
or will it be samples? Yes.
Okay. 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 So thanks, Geetanjali ma'am. You are helping me a lot. I want some
I
others
think
to
I'm
help me
troubling you a lot,
also.
but that's fine. Yes, I'm still not, avoiding that. Sorry.
No, 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 no. Please, please. I
Yes.
need this help.
Ma'am, diversity inside the group and the group being similar.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Vijaya ma'am. And thank you, Geetanjali ma'am. Okay. Let me explain about the cluster analysis because cluster analysis is also a segmentation technique. So generally, there are two types of analysis. One is factor analysis and other one is cluster analysis. Okay, data divided into groups which are different from each other, but elements in a group is homogeneous. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ajib. Okay, so coming to this factor and cluster analysis, generally the data we provide will be as a columns as well as rows. For example, the columns are said to be variables, the rows are said to be responses. When you want to group these columns, that is the variables, that is said to be factor analysis. That is also sometimes called as principal component analysis, where we explore the factors. On the other hand side, you have many responses or respondents. When you want to group the respondents, that is said to be cluster analysis. So this is what the factor analysis and cluster analysis difference. Coming again to cluster analysis in detail, you have KNN. It's like K means clustering. So anybody knows about this K means clustering? What is that K? Again, in principal component analysis, we have some factor structure. Anybody knows about K-means clustering? What is that K indicates? What is that K? Sorry?
No.
You said something, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, I don't know about it.
Okay, so generally in cluster analysis, you have a technique called K-means clustering. In case of K-means clustering, the K is the number of clusters. So how many clusters to be formed is generally given by us. Even in factor analysis also, when you see in SPSS, it will have some values where it is asked for the number of factors. In some instances, we will give the number of factors and ask the data. It's like we are tweaking the data or playing with the data to converge likewise. So that is what is principal component analysis. In cluster analysis, when we give, for example, when we give the cluster number as 2, the data by itself will convert the cluster into cluster 1 and cluster 2. And these clusters are formed based on the distance measure. It's like I am over here and a person B is over here. The distance between the person A and person B is measured. Already there are 2 clusters. One cluster, they're impulse bias. Other clusters, they are normal bias. For example, I'm going to enter into the cluster and I am an impulse buyer. So how I can classify it into impulse buyer? Because based on my characteristics, a distance is calculated between me and the impulse buying cluster and me and the normal buying cluster. And generally the technique will see which distance, based on the distance measure, to which cluster the person A is closer, we will be classified under that cluster. So that is said to be cluster analysis. So this PHMX can be equalized to the cluster analysis in case of the smart PLS technique. So now we can see how PHMX can be run. Okay, it's a finite mixture. It tells you unobserved heterogeneity. I will just share the screen again.
Ma'am, I have one more question.
Yes,
From
please.
the basic research methodology, what we've read, when you make a graph of the cluster, right? Am I on the right track? I just need you to confirm. So when we make a graph, you have those cluster points, right? And then there is a mean taken, and then you see where the person or whichever point you are looking at, then you measure that how different or how above or below. Is that the same thing or is it different?
Yeah, it is the same thing. You are telling again the distance. So if a cluster is formed, in the cluster you have 2-3 peoples, right? The mean of this 2-3 responses is calculated. That is the cluster 1 measure. So again, one of the people is entering again. Generally, we will populate it. It is said to be an unsupervised technique when you speak in the AI point of view. So whatever you're telling is absolutely fine.
Okay, thanks.
So coming to this PHMX PLS, it helps to uncover the unobserved heterogeneity and works in conjunction with PLS path modeling. So it improves the model estimation by accounting for heterogeneity. We think that there are only 2 groups exist or 2 segments exist like male and female or impulse buyer or compulsive buyer, etc. But there are some amount of heterogeneity exist based on the response. So this is said to be segmentation based on the responses. So this is what we are going to identify using this PHMX. So generally the steps in PHMX is, first we need to do the PLS SEM model. Whenever you want to do a multi-group analysis, you all complete everything. After that, we need to apply the PHMX to identify the latent segments which is not shown outside. And after applying the PHMX, how we need to interpret it? We can interpret the optimal number of segments using this Akaika criteria, BIC. So this is all the criteria where we are going to see based on how the number of segments is finalized. And then we can interpret the segment specific results. So going over here. Okay. So these are the measures generally in PHMX we will get. That is AIC, it's heavily overestimates the correct number of segments. So these are all the measures. I think now you can't understand, even this is not required from the interpretation point of view. Moving to the next slide. So this is all the measure and this is all the cutoff value we generally look out for. So before doing this, I think, okay, before doing this, I would like to understand whether any of you have used the G Star Power software. Any of you use this G Star Power? Any of you use this G Star Power? Okay, it is actually, yes.
Say, ma'am, it is for calculating sample size, right?
Yes, it is for calculating the sample size. It is used for the sample size calculation. Yes, this is actually the scientific way of sample size calculation. So this G-Star Power is a software which is a free one where you can download and install it. So this G-Star Power software is going to tell you how many segments we can select or we can identify in the Phymix. So now I will share my screen and show you this G-Star Power software. Okay, so I've already installed the G-Star Power software. So I'm going to my start button. When you see here, I have this G Power 3.1. So you can go Google it. Now it is not required. Please don't do that now. But generally, when you go Google it, it is available. You can download it. It will be helpful in calculating your sample size. Your sample size should be calculated scientifically, and you should never ever tell that is 10% of your population, etc., etc. So when you use a software and tell that using this G-Star Power you have used, even the reviewer will accept your sample size. So then I'm going over here, G-Star Power. Okay. When you open this G-Star Power, you will get this window. So in this window, we are now going to calculate the minimum sample size. Here, we are not going to give the population size, etc., etc., because that will not work. If, for example, if you are doing for Generation Z, Generation Y, or the people who are buying in quick commerce, that is all indefinite population. So how will you get the population details online? So it will be very challenging. So we are not going to mention anything about the population. We are going to see how the sample size is derived. So generally, the test we use is t-test, and the statistical test we need to choose is this linear regression. So we need to go to this G-Star Power and then go to this linear multiple regression. Okay, linear multiple regression. Once you go to this linear multiple regression, you can see this input parameters, tail, effect size, alpha, this is beta, and number of predictors. So coming to this type of power analysis, please don't touch there. Coming to tail. So what is this one-tailed and two-tailed test? When you go, there is a drop-down window. It is telling 1 or 2. Can somebody help me out? What is this one-tailed or two-tailed test? What is one-tailed or two-tailed test? How you can tell it is one-tailed or two-tailed test?
Ma'am, is that related to the standard deviation?
Okay.
No.
Okay. 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 So it is what you can tell, it's like if it is a directional relation. For example, if you are giving an hypothesis stating that the average scores of men is positive, it means that you are giving a direction to it. It's positive. But that is said to be one tail. In the normal distribution, you have a left side as well as the right side. Okay. So the right side is positive and the left side is negative. So when you tell something in your hypothesis, when you tell something as positive and negative, then it is said to be the one tail test. Generally, one-tailed test is not preferable because we have a presumption that this is positive or negative, but we don't know whether it is positive or negative. But we make a one-tailed test and it tells that it is not accepted. We'll only know the half side of it. We will not know whether the other side is correct or not. That's why one-tailed is not preferable. So coming over here, you have this G star power. Okay, so I am choosing this two-tailed test and coming to this effect size. So generally, effect size is the effort created by the variable we have added. So it's like the default effect size generally they have given us 0.15. It is like your one variable is contributing 15% of your outcome variable. But technically or practically speaking, that is, it's like high level of optimism. So you should not be level-headed. You should not blow your own trumpet. So when you are doing a sample size calculation, be very modest and tell that the variable what we have added is at least contributing 5% of the effect size. So it is preferable to have the effect size as 0.05. And coming to this alpha error probability, okay, it's like 95% level of significance is fine. But even for the 95 level percentage of significance, you can also make it to 0.10. That is also allowable. Coming to 1 minus beta, what it is telling, 1 minus beta is a power. It is the allowable error by S. So what we are telling, the allowable error is only 5%. That is actually, again, it is not practically feasible. So what we can do, it's like the allowable error, we can make it as 20%. When you make it as 20%, so this is 0.80. So this is what the power is. Then comes the number of predictors. So the number of predictors, we generally get it from the model. So going to this corporate reputation model, we can see this model. I think this model is visible to you now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you know about predicting variable and criterion variable. So the predictor variable or the one which is said to be independent variable, while the criterion variable is the outcome variable or the dependent variable. Okay, so now we need to at least tell how many predictors are over here. So I think this would be good. That is not visible. Okay, this is not visible. Okay, when you go here, this CUSL, this is actually the outcome variable where this is all said to be the predictor variable. When you count the predictor variable, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 predictor variables. We are calculating or we are going to do phonics for this model. That's why I'm calculating or counting the number of predictor variables. So the predictor variable again depends upon your model. Okay, I've closed it. Okay, it got changed. I'm going to change it again. It is two-tailed test. I am making the effect size as 0.05 and alpha, the power test as 0.80 and the number of predictors as 7. And the number of predictors as 7. When you give the number of predictors as 7, and then when you press this calculate, you can get this total sample size. You can get this total sample size. Is that visible for you? It is showing you the total sample size is 159. It means that it is not that you can collect only 159. The minimum sample size is 159 for this level. If you have 7 predictors, the total sample size is 159. So This is the sample size. We got it from this G star power, but we have the total sample size over here. So what is the sample size for this model? I can go over here. You can see it is 344. I think I can go over here. Okay, when you see this, you can see the sample is 344. In order to find out how many segments we are going to make, the formula for calculating this is 344 divided by 159. Okay, so 344 divided by 159. So if you make 344 divided by 159, it's like 344 divided by 159, you get 2.16. Okay, so 2.16 is the number of groups you can make. It means that you can make 2 to 3 groups. Since it is 2.16, so the formula for calculating the K is number of clusters. So this Fimix is calculated or equated with the cluster analysis in it's like the analytics. So this K is calculated by the formula of total sample size you have collected divided by the sorry minimum segment minimum segment sample size as determined by this G star power. So this is actually the formula for calculating the number of ideal segments we can make, right? Do you understand about this Fimix basics? The Fimix is generally used to find out the unobserved heterogeneity. This unobserved heterogeneity occurs based on the response. It is not based on the respondents. It is based on the respondent's response to your questionnaire. So in order to find out the heterogeneity, because if we treat the people A and B, which are, it's like they are very dissimilar, and we treat all of them equally, then it will lead to a problem. That's why we wanted to identify the segments, and then we want to clearly demarcate the segments and treat the segments differently. That's why we are going for this Fimix. I would also, before going doing the Smart PLS, I also would like to show you some articles. I would also, okay. Okay. Can somebody tell me what is this type of mediation is? What is this type of mediation is? The outcome is happiness at work. You have affective commitment and pro-social behavior. What is the type of mediation is this?
Ma'am, this is series.
Serial.
Yeah, serial, correct.
Serial mediation. So what is serial mediation? If the multiple mediators are connected, like affective commitment as well as pro-social behavior are connected, then it is said to be serial mediation. Coming to this model. Okay. What is this type of mediation? You have workplace spirituality and internal whistleblowing, and the mediator or moral courage and ethical leadership. What could be the what is the type of mediation?
This is parallel.
Parallel mediation. So
Parallel.
parallel mediation is one where the mediators don't have any connection. So the moral courage is something different from ethical leadership. We are testing only whether this workplace spirituality through moral courage, it leads to internal whistleblowing, or through ethical leadership, it leads to internal whistleblowing, or which is actually a good moderator comparison. So that's all. Okay. So I'll, it's like forward you this. And this is actually the exhibit on how to interpret the model. How to interpret the model. I forgot to tell you about this bootstrapping. So after completing this Fimix, I'll tell you about the bootstrapping also, how to interpret the bootstrap results. So this is what the model we are seeing. So This is actually the customer loyalty, and this is customer satisfaction. And this comp, and where it is given. Okay, this comp is company's competence over here, that is comp, and this is company's likability. So this is the model we are discussing now. This is actually a preliminary model they have made long before. So this is the model we are discussing over here. This is a simple model. Okay, they have also explained about the reflective, and this is a single item construct reflective model. And they also explained about the constructs. I'll also send you this. This will help you in understanding the data set perfectly. So this is about the path model and its interpretation. And I think this is all
Ma'am,
about.
are you going to send us the papers, the research papers,
Yes,
which you
yes,
which you
yes,
have
yes,
referred to?
yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much. All right.
Of course, that will be helpful for you.
Yes,
Who's that?
yes.
I
Thank
think
you
this
so
is the, oh, it's a Geetanjali ma'am. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to send it. I'm going to send it for sure. I didn't do it for yesterday, but today after or before I disconnect, I'll do it in WhatsApp in my laptop itself. That's what I plan to do it. Or else I will do for never. That is what the bad behavior I do have. So I'm going to send the papers to you all, but I'm just introducing this. These are the papers. So this will help. So this is an article on MGA, that is multi-group analysis. So where you have a task motivation, creative skills, and expertise, where the creative behavior is the outcome. So here they have done the MGA. Okay, measurement model, second order. Okay, so when you see this, student group and practitioner group. So student group is a different group and practitioner group. It's like they have collected the responses for the same questionnaire from the student group as well as the practitioner group. They will code student group as 0 and practitioner group as 1. After collecting the data, after doing the preliminary analysis, they generally code 0 for student group and 1 for practitioner group. And then they will do a multi-group analysis. So the student and the practitioner group will not be treated altogether. That's why we are doing a multi-group analysis. So generally for doing the multi-group analysis, we can do an overall model. But for the student and practitioner group, generally we should not do an overall model. It's a blender. For example, if it is like a consumers and then you are segmenting the consumers, you can do an overall model followed by the 2 types of consumers. So this is one of the example. Okay, so coming over here. Now we can see how to do FIMIX in Smart PLS. So going back here, I'm doing again with the corporate reputation model. So you need to go here and click calculate. When you click calculate, you can see this finite mixture segmentation. So this finite mixture segmentation, you can equate it with the cluster analysis. Now we are going to find out how many segments are there in the data or response. So when I click this finite mixture segmentation, it is asking for number of segments. Ideally speaking, what generally we need to do, we need to calculate the outcome variable for one segment, and the segments we got. The segments what we got is 2.16. So it is like between 2 to 3 we can make the segments. So in this case, what we can do, we can make the number of segment as 1, run and copy paste the result. We can then run with the number of segments as 2 and copy paste the result. And then with the 3, we run the result and copy paste the result. And then we will identify what would be the ideal segment classification. Now I am giving this 1 and I am giving start calculation. So the calculation is done. After the calculation is done, go down. There is actually this quality criteria. Okay. Under quality criteria, you have model selection criteria. So this outcome is there in quality criteria. Under quality criteria, you have model selection criteria. When you click this model selection criteria, you will get this table. When you click this model selection criteria, you will get this table. What I can do it is like, I can open a new Excel sheet. I can open a blank workbook, and then I go over here and I can simply copy paste this. Okay, copy to Excel, Control V. Okay. Okay, so this is the outcome we got from one segment. We need to make it as a table. We need to report this table in our paper also. I'll show you the paper where they have reported this. So this is for single segment. So what I can do is like, this is for segment 1. So this is the outcome for the segment 1. And after coming back to the Smart PLS again and edit, now again go to calculate, go to this finite mixture segmentation and make the number of segments as 2. You don't want to change everything because that is all fixed by default, and start calculation. After calculation, again go to this quality criteria, model selection criteria, copy to Excel. I am copying it over here, Control V, and now I am just Control X and I am pasting it over here. So this is for segment 2. Again, I'm doing it for segment 3, where I'm going to edit, calculate, finite mixture segmentation 3, and start calculation. Okay. Go to this quality criteria, model selection criteria, copy to Excel, and I'm copying it here. So Control X, and Control V. Okay. This is for segment 3. Since we have got 2 to 3, I am doing only for segment 2 and segment 3. For example, you get cluster as 6. If you get the cluster as 6, it is not required you have to run 6 times. Instead of that, you need to run for one segment and then do it for 6th segment. That's all you can do for it. Okay. So now since it is only 3, I'm making it for 3. Now I'm saving this and going back to the PPT. So in the PPT, there are some cutoff value or the upper limit and lower limit which is given. Based on this only, we are going to find out what are the number of ideal segments we can make. So first, coming to this AIC. Okay, so this AIC is select less segments than indicated by AIC and select more segments than indicated by MDL5. So we need to find out the upper limit in AIC and lower limit in AIC. So technically speaking, in one of the cluster, in all the cluster, when you see this, you have this alkaline information criterion as well as this minimum description length with factor 5. So what they are telling is that you need to select less segments than indicated by AIC. You need to find out what is the lower value over there in AIC. So these are the 3 AIC values given. So here you need to find out the lower bound. So in this case, the lower bound is 2752 because it's 847, 777, and 752. So this is in segment 3. So we need to consider both AIC and MDL5 in the first instance. So coming to MDL5, you can see the value. The least value is over here. Okay, I am also selecting this. So now, after selecting the least value, go back and see what is AIC and MDL5. So the value, the AIC value which is least in some segment. So that is the less segment. Okay.
Should it
So
not be the highest value in AIC?
no.
Okay.
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 What they are telling, it is with respect to the segments. When you see this AIC value, select less segments than indicated by AIC. When you see AIC in segment 3, the value is very low. And it is in segment 3. What it is telling, you need to select the less segment as indicated in segment 3. So the less segment are segment 2 and segment 1. This is this upper limit. And they are also telling over here, select more segments than indicated by MDL5. It is about the segments and not about the value. It is upper limit and lower limit, but it is about you need to find out the least value in AIC and MDL5. So when you go and see MDL5, the least value is in segment 1. So what it is telling, select more segments than indicated by MDL5. So we need to make more than one segment as indicated by MDL5, where as per the AIC, we need to make less segments than 3 segments. Do you understand this? Or for the AIC or
Yes, ma'am.
MDL5, AIC3, we need to find out the least value. But this doesn't speak about the least value. So what? The corresponding segment only they are speaking. So this, as per this first criterion, the ideal number of segments would be less than 3 segments, but should be greater than 1 segment. This is number of segment. Okay, so this is what. So when you come with the first criteria, we don't come to a conclusion because this both should be, for example, if in segment 3 also this MDL5 was less, we can tell that this 3 segments is the ideal situation, but that didn't happen. So what we have to do, we have to go to the next condition. So what is the next condition they have told? It is AICA 3 and KAIC. It's like CAIC. If their minimum value distance is in the same cluster, choose that particular segment. Again, AIC4 and BIC. If the minimum value of distance is in the same cluster, choose that particular segment. So this AIC and MDL5 will give you the upper and lower limit, while this 3 and KAIC and AIC4 and BIC will tell you the number of segments. So coming to AIC3 and CAIC. So AIC3 here, when you see this AIC3, the lower value is in segment 3 again. The lower value is in segment 3. Okay. The lower value is in segment 3, AIC3 and C, consistent AIC. When see the consistent AIC, you have 2929, 2946 and 307. The lowest value is again in segment 1. So as per the condition or the criteria given, this 2 doesn't converge in one segment. Okay, this is what it is telling. If their minimum value of distance is in the same cluster, choose that particular segment. So that didn't happen. Now you need to go for the next criteria. The next criteria is that AICA 4 and BIC, the minimum value should be in the same amount. When coming to AIC4 over here, the minimum value is 2847. The minimum value is 2847 And coming to this BIC, the minimum value is in, okay, I think it's BIC. If the minimum AIC4 and
Yeah, ma'am.
AIC4,
Segment 2. That's in segment 2 again.
that is segment 2. Okay. So now what you can tell, it's like 2 segments are ideal under this condition. Okay. 2 segments are ideal under this condition. Okay. So since both of the values are lesser in one segment, we come to a conclusion that 2 segments or the heterogeneity is only 2. There are only 2 groups of people and not more than 2. But there are cases where even this condition is not satisfied. Like in some cases, this AIC3 and KAIKA will get satisfied. In some cases, like this, AIC4 and BIC will be satisfied. But if all this condition are not satisfied, the last condition is actually the most important criterion. Coming to this, the entropy criterion should be greater than 0.5. There is a twist over here. Okay. Coming to the outcome here. Now, we need to see the entropy criterion and it should be greater than 0.5. When you see the entropy here, in case of segment 3, the entropy is only 43.43. But in case of segment 3, the entropy is greater than 0.5. So which segment you will choose? Whether segment 2 or 2 segments or 3 segments? Which would be the ideal option?
Ma'am, third one.
3 segments, because as per the criteria given, the entropy criterion is the most important criterion. At least 50% should be represented by that segments, so that when compared to this, we need to go for only these 3 segments, because this has got the entropy value of more than 0.5. So your article, your journal publication should have this table, and you need to explain why you have come to the conclusion of this. Okay. So now we have seen there are 3 clusters, but now we need to find out what are the number of people in each cluster. Okay. What are the number of people in each cluster? Okay. Calculate finite mixture segmentation. Now we calculate with 3 itself. Start calculation. Here, when you go to the segment size, when you click the segment size, you can see that 45.3% are in segment 1, 44.3% are in segment 2, and 10.4% are in segment 3. Okay, you have 344 sample size. Of the 344 sample size, 45% are in segment 1, 44% are in segment 2, 10.4 is in segment 3. So now you understand why there is a dilemma between segment 2 and segment 3, because generally, if the percentage of the people in the segment is less than 10%, you have this dilemma. You have this cat on the wall. That's why the values are all like cat on the wall, where to segregate, whether it is segment 2 or segment 3. But if you consider this as only 2 segment, this 10% people who are different, so this 10% people may generally be called as outliers. So they are said to be outliers. Outliers could be positive or negative. That is different scenario. So these outliers should be treated separately. That is what we need to find it out. For example, an advertisement has been played and its effectiveness has been identified. You know, it's like in your mind, you take that the urban people perceive advertisement as different and rural people perceive the advertisement as different. This is what your hypothesis. But when you collect the responses, you got more than 2 segments. It means that your advertisement should be tweaked in such a way that it should fit for all the segments which we arrive at. So this is what one use case of this FIMIX. Okay, do you understand why we are doing this FIMIX? In order to capture the unobserved heterogeneity. So there are only very few papers which discusses about this unobserved heterogeneity. Okay, there are only very few papers which explain about this unobserved heterogeneity. But it is better for you to start with this FINIX paper. I'll show you the FINIX paper also over here, where they have mentioned. And before that, you can also find it out who are all there in, it's like based on the response also you can find it out. I show that. Okay, you got this output. When you got this output, you can go to the segment assignment. When you click the segment assignment, this, okay, segment assignment, you have got FIMIX probability. So this is actually the probability. This the respondents 0. 55% probability to be segregated in segment 2 and 44%. But this will not help us. Instead of that, you have a discrete segment assignment. When you go for this discrete assignment segment, you can see that the response 1, the person is classified under segment 1. The response 2 is classified under segment 1. And 2, 3, 4, 5 respondents are classified under segment 2. Likewise, you can get the outcome, so that you can copy paste it in your original data sheet and you can play with the data. So this is what this FIMIX generally helps to do. Okay, coming to this data. Okay. Okay, no, this is about the multi-group analysis. I think I don't have any FIMIX paper now. Okay, let me see. I'll share the screen now. Okay, when you see this paper, can you see this FIMIX PLS segment 1, segment 2, FIMIX PLS segment 1, FIMIX PLS segment 2?
Yes, ma'am.
They
we
were
can.
mentioning the original sample size is 583, and in segment 1 they have 272 and 311, and this is actually the beta value. This 0.47 and 0.53 is the beta value. You need to only, it's like report this, but you need to give an explanation about the FIMIX. So when you see over here, it is unobserved heterogeneity identification and treatment using this FIMIX. So you need to tell about this chaotic entropic statistics, etc., etc. And then it's like now we have some word count limit. So in that case, we can only tell that there exists some unobserved heterogeneity, and we have treated that heterogeneity and we have made the model. Can you see this? After that, they have bifurcated this into two segments. Originally speaking, they have not done with any segments. After that, they didn't treat the segment together, right? Because the segments are something different. So they, after that, they have bifurcated the segment and found out the relationship between achievement and PU or whatever is this, you can find a great difference between this value. When you see the relationship between achievement and this performance, I think is perceived. So this is non-significant and this is significant. So when you take the segment 1 and segment 2 together, it will lead to a misleading result. It doesn't mean that you can also report that. Earlier, when I was doing my PhD, this physics PLS was also not there. We generally consider some segments and we do analysis only with that segment. That is possible. But nowadays, since we have techniques, and if you want to publish in ABDC journals, they do require some high level of advanced PLS like this, because they do have a perceived notion that PLS itself is very easy. In that case, if you do a multi-group analysis, and before that, when you do a FIMIX and find out the unobserved heterogeneity, and then based on this unobserved heterogeneity, you can make or find out the relationship strength across different models, that would add value to your paper article. That's why we generally recommend people to go for this high level of PLS techniques. Not only PLS, you have this deep neural network and the CNN technique where you find out the most important factor, etc. So this is about the FIMIX. And then I just end up with giving introduction to this NCA, introduction to MCA, sorry, NCA. So now tell me, have you heard about this NCA? Have you heard about NCA? Have you heard about NCA?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so earlier we have a concept called necessary condition analysis. That is what's said to be NCA. And we do have a concept called, I think you have also heard about FSQCA. FSQCA is high level of NCA where it tells you about, that is fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis. Earlier, we do have QCA, qualitative comparative analysis. It was extended and it was transferred to necessary condition analysis. And then now it is FSQCA. For conducting FSQCA, you don't require smart PLS. There is again an open software called FSQCA. I think I have this FSQCA. Okay, I think I have deleted it. I don't know. I don't have FSQCA. Yeah, there is a software called FSQCA where you can download it and run it. Now I'll tell you what is the difference between this necessary condition analysis and fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis. So in the corporate reputation model, what we have seen, you have got 7 predictor variables. And the outcome variable is customer loyalty. So what this necessary condition will tell you is that what are the variables which is necessary to cause this customer loyalty. Okay, we have 7 predictors. We'll also path coefficient, like how much it is explaining. That is actually a basic level of analysis. While this necessary condition analysis will tell you, for example, take customer satisfaction and customer loyalty relationship. At some point of time only, this customer satisfaction can be converted into customer loyalty. It means that the customer is satisfied at the starting level, but it will not be converted to loyalty. Like at 20% level, if the customer is satisfied, there might be instances where it will not be converted to loyalty. But when it goes to 40-60%, if the customer is more satisfied and if the percentage is very high, he got delighted. We have a concept called customer delight. In that case, there is a high probability that customer satisfaction will be changed into customer loyalty. So this NCA will tell you at what percentage level you can convert that satisfaction into loyalty. So for example, if the satisfaction level is 20% for one of the product, if it converts into loyalty, then for the marketer, they can only put some minimal effort into it. And again, it depends upon the product. Okay. So Like this, the NCA will tell you what are the necessary condition which is available or which is required for the outcome variable to occur. That is what necessary condition analysis. But this fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis, fuzzy set means it is either 0 or 1. This necessary condition will tell you only at what point you can do and what point you can do play with the predictors. But this fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis will tell you what are the predictors which you should not take into account also. NCA will tell you what is important, while FSQCA at the high level will tell you what to include and what not to include. So that is not performed by this Smart PLS. For that, we do have a software called FSQCA, where you can write an article only with FSQCA and submit to a high quality journal like B and C. They will accept it. Most probably they require some supportive analysis, but generally if it is B and C, you can go only with FSQCA and write a paper. And please try to incorporate this FIMIX, multi-group analysis, etc. into your article, because that will help you to gain traction and your review. It's like the acceptance rate will be comparatively high. And I would like to conclude with the say that these are all statistical techniques, but a good quality journal not only look out for the statistical techniques. Statistical technique only supports it's like your model. The model is the one which can speak for you. So when you are devising the model, please take care of this literature review. For example, if you make a very bad model where yesterday you have seen, if the mediator is also not mediating the relationship and the direct effect is also not there, in that case, it's like you need to model it again. So you can reframe the model, that is not a problem. But if you have collected 200 responses and after that, if you have found out that your model is not correct, then everything will be in vain. So please put your utmost effort in the literature review and devising the model, and then you can back it up with the statistical analysis. And it's like you can use both the CB-SEM as well as PLS SEM in the PLS software itself. That is Smart PLS software itself. But generally, if your sample size is very less, and if you want to do this advanced level of analysis, only with PLS it is possible and not with this covariance based SEM. So that's why I generally do tell people that explore more with the PLS SEM. And this is all the statistical technique. Giving so much of effort for a statistical technique, learning CB-SEM, which is very challenging, it's like I generally personally don't recommend that. And this is my suggestion. I think 2 days would not be enough for explaining this, because for this, we need to install it for a 30-day trial version, and then we need to run the data. So this is all advanced level techniques where when you understand this preliminary level analysis, it would be very easy. Again, interpretation and writing, interpretation would be very easy. But how to write it or how to incorporate it in your article is again will be challenging for you. So I forward these articles to you. I think it is a good time for me to forward these articles. I forward this article in WhatsApp. I'll also send you, I think I already copy pasted the link for the Smart PLS. But when you download it for one machine, you can do it only once. So it's like for one mission, for one user ID, like Gmail ID, you can use it for 30 days. But when you use a different machine and different email ID, you can extend it for next 30 days. And you can do that. It's like there are some people who are doing likewise also. It's just a tip which I heard from my friends. That's all. It is not to encourage the unethical practice. But if you want to do, if you need only for 2-3 days, you can't invest a hefty amount into it. So this is the tip where you can follow it and do with the Smart PLS software. So that's all from my side. And thank you for everyone for your time and patience, and sorry for not making it up on time, that is on December. Thank you. And Raki Sharma, yes.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, this is Rakesh Sharma, and actually, once I tried hands-on PLS, so I downloaded it 30 days trial. So once I just checked it, so it's expired today. So, but I just downloaded one data and the graphs. So I just want to show you. So can you please help me to understand that data? So
Yes,
should
yes,
I
yes.
share
Sure,
the
sure.
screen, ma'am?
Yeah, you have the option of sharing the screen.
No, ma'am.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Just give me.
Mhm. I don't have authority to.
Datta sir,
Uh,
can you please commit
Datta
to
sir
it?
is here, it seems. I think sir can. He's actually the host.
Ma'am, WhatsApp, you want to post something?
No, sir. Rakesh Sharma would like to share the screen. That option is not available with her.
Okay, okay, okay. 1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute, ma'am.
Please
Yes.
provide me the host rights, sir.
And Dr. Datta, ma'am has to send something on WhatsApp also.
And now itself, I'll do Geetanjali, ma'am. You
Yes.
don't worry
Yes.
about it.
Raki, ma'am, it's done.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So let me share.
Yes.
But I'm not getting the options to share the screens.
No, you are added as a co-host. Yeah, it is done. Check.
Yeah, you are added as a co-host. You might get that option of sharing the screen.
Just a minute. I'm trying to get the
Yeah,
option.
you please do it. That's not a problem. I'll speak with others. Geetanjali, ma'am, you're from where and are you doing your PhD currently?
Yes, ma'am, I am. I
Okay,
am
okay,
currently in Delhi in the NCR. I
okay.
am otherwise based, I have been in Chennai for a very long time.
Oh, okay. You're doing PhD with which university?
Sushant University.
Okay,
Answer?
there. Oh,
Yes,
oh, okay,
here
okay,
only.
okay,
I'm here with my parents actually, ma'am. So they are
okay,
quite old, 89 and 84.
okay,
So
okay.
I'm
That's great.
here and yes, it's a constructive option that do something,
Yeah,
while
yeah.
taking care of the
No, you
parents.
have that curious and you have a learning capability. Sure, you will shine. That's what I can understand.
I think sometimes it's painful, but it's okay.
No,
I
no, no.
prefer to
No, no, no,
find
no,
out.
no, no.
Yes, it's
Do you
important to
think that the
find out,
teacher
right,
will
ma'am?
be?
Yes,
No, it is not painful. You are thinking the teacher will be very happy when you ask question like this. Even if you cross question me, I will be very happy.
yes. No, I think once I know a little bit, and that's why I was saying that if I'm coming to Chennai, I would love to meet you because, it just kind of helps us to get the guidance. Rakhi, please
Sure.
carry on. Then I will continue talking with ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Huh. Yeah, Raki,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me, what do you want to understand here?
Ma'am, this was the chart I just got downloaded from the PLS. So I,
Hmm.
with the help of YouTube, I started and I just feed the data. Actually, this data is about the acceptability of solar system in NCR.
Okay.
Right. So
Hmm,
how many
hmm.
people just means based on AW is awareness, D is demographic content, E means this
So
this
how you devise the model? You have a literature support?
yes, ma'am. Means based
Okay.
on multiple literates, I just collected the data from people, and
I
should
have
I
few
show?
questions.
Ji.
Shall I ask few
Yeah,
questions?
please, means ma'am.
What is the CSC,
CAS is ma'am.
ESC and DI?
DI is demographic data based on age, based on education, based on qualification, right, ma'am? And this FP
Why did
is
you made this DI and ESE as a formative one?
ma'am, these are the means main variable is demography, and multiple sub
Mhm.
like factors under this variable is age under demography, education under demography. So these kind of things means these demography is divided under multiple age groups, like up to 20 years, 20 to 40 years, 40 to 30, this 60
Okay,
years. So
my
it was
concern is why
divided
did
like
you
that,
made this
ma'am.
ES and DI as that's okay, but why do you
These are
made this
ma'am.
as formative? Why you made this as formative?
I didn't get it, ma'am.
No, it's like this arrow
Should
is
I
pointed towards
show you?
this DI, right?
Yeah, ma'am. Outcome is
This is
this.
said to
Outcome is
uh,
this one. Means CAS means acceptability of this solar system.
that is perfectly fine.
That
You
is
can see
that is
these
out.
indicators like DI1, DI2, and DI3, right?
G, ma'am. Right, ma'am. So
Okay, so these are said to be indicators. So
yeah,
from
ma'am.
the indicators to DI, you have
Hmm.
the arrow pointing towards the DI. So it means it is a formative indicator. It's like
Okay,
formative
ma'am.
construct. So when
Okay, ma'am.
you make it as a formative construct, you need to
Mm-hmm.
have a literature support that when you remove
Mm-hmm.
this DI1, this DI
Mm-hmm.
is nothing else. It's like why you made it as formative? Did you have any literature support? Because when you see this, what is this FP? This 0.474.
Financial means information. Yeah.
Okay, so here you have made FP as reflective. What is reflective is
Yeah.
that the arrow is pointing from the variable to the indicator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
formative, and this is all towards why you made like this. Is there any literature support? That is what my first question is.
Literature support in what sense, ma'am? Like, is
Okay,
there
so there
any
is a
study which says like it has a positive effect on FP or like that?
no, no, no. Is there any literature support which says that FP is reflective or leave FP? This DI as formative.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. I just went through multiple papers and I found these kind of variables because I was not having that much information. I just tried, so I means so I just now want to understand what I made actually. So that
Okay,
is my
so I'll
so,
explain it then. Okay,
yeah.
so the as I said, I think yesterday you have joined midway, right?
No, ma'am. I was from beginning. Maybe I was
Okay.
late 5 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, I was there
Okay.
in whole
So
session.
that time I was discussing about reflective model and formative model.
Yeah, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
So the reflective and formative is the outer model, where the
Mhm.
relationship between indicators towards variables. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So the
Mhm.
indicators to variables, if it is reflective, it is like,
Mhm.
for example, a variable B is there, and the indicator
Mhm.
1, I1, I2, I3, I4 is
Mhm.
all or part of
Mhm.
this variable B. That is, this
Mhm.
B is causing this indicator. That's why the arrow
Mhm.
is pointed outwards. So if it
Mhm.
is reflective, if you remove the
Mhm.
indicator 2, even if you
Mhm.
remove the indicator 2, the variable will not change.
Okay, ma'am.
That
Okay.
is actually reflective.
Okay. And
But
what are
if
the
it is
Ji.
formative,
Mhm.
yes, yes, tell me, tell me.
What are these values indicating here, ma'am? In between, like 1.110,
Okay. So
0.19.
first, you need to
Mhm.
see whether this is formative or reflective. Okay.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
anyway,
Mhm.
this 0.281, this 0.055, this is all path coefficient. So
Okay.
in regression, you will get some coefficient, right? Regression coefficient.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
That regression coefficient is this path coefficient, this 0.281, 0.055, 0.002.
Mhm.
But this is only the path coefficient, which tells
Mhm.
you the coefficient, but you don't know whether this path is significant or not. You want to
Mhm.
understand whether the path is significant or not when you run a bootstrap.
Yeah. Ma'am, I have
Bootstrap will
one
give you the,
bootstrap
yes.
also. So,
Mm.
uh,
But Raki, I just suggest you please confirm
mhm.
whether this DI and FP, BDI, AW are all formative or reflective. Because as I say, formative will be treated differently and reflective model will be treated differently. So you should be very careful in that.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
If you make
So,
it as reflective, I don't have any problem. I would have interpreted it. But if it
mhm.
is formative, you need to take much care in interpretation.
Okay. So that was not in my mind, ma'am. I just means whatever I studied, I just tried. So I'm not,
Okay.
mm, means I don't have much idea about it. So
Okay.
whatever
So you said
graphs,
that
whatever
some use
data.
some bootstrapping outcome results. Can you
Hmm.
please show that also? I tell you what is that?
Just a minute, ma'am. I'm sharing.
Yes.
Ma'am, I would like to also know, Raki, I'm also butting in, but I would just like to know that ma'am, when you mentioned about
Yeah.
reflective and the formative model, why would we use a reflective model? I mean, any examples why we would use a reflective model? Because uh, and why we would, I mean, formative, I can understand because we are looking at the indicators having a direct impact on that particular variable. But why do we have a reflective model in the first place? And any examples?
Okay. So reflective model, as for my view, reflective model is safe. Formative model is
Okay.
that one when you remove one of the indicators. It is
Mm-hmm.
not formative. Okay, so for making it as a formative model, you need a literature support that the variable B is composed of this 5 indicators. For example, if you remove one of the indicators, it is not variable B, it is variable B1. Like if it
Mm-hmm.
is customer satisfaction and it has got some 4 variables, 4 indicators, if you remove one of the indicators, that will not be customer satisfaction. So that is very risky. And again, when you want to model it as formative, you need to have a literature support.
So, literature support is what you're saying is the literature review should support those indicators? No, what is literature support?
Literature support is that it should mention that this variable is formative, where if you remove this indicator, it will alter its characteristics. So the literature should,
And where do you get this information from? That is coming
from
from
the
literature
articles,
review. Yeah,
from the
from the literature review.
articles,
Okay, okay,
from the articles.
all right.
Yes, Raki, you shared, but I didn't
Yeah,
see.
ma'am. Uh, is it now visible, ma'am? So
Yes,
this
yes.
was the result with bootstrapping.
Uh, Yeah, you see this NAN values are here.
Hmm.
That should be, it's like, for example, you see it's 0.431. What is this
Ma'am,
0.431 indicates is that the p value.
okay.
So the p
Uh,
value, if it is less than 0.05, then that path is significant. When I see this only this path is significant. Otherwise, you
Mm,
have NaN values. Generally, you will not get NaN values. There is some problem with this. But this is all from bootstrapping. The outcome you get it, this all the P
okay.
values. If the P value is,
Okay. Means so whatever value is less than 0.5, so it is
hmm,
not acceptable. It is not valid actually.
that is accepted. If P value is less than 0.05, then that path
Okay.
is significant. When you see over
Okay.
here, you have 0.190 as P value.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
this is
point
not
0.8 point.
significant. So only,
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
so it's like none of the parts are significant, all are insignificant. So there is a problem with the model or conceptualization of the model. It's like it might be the formative model also. When you can see this is all 0.997. This is the bootstrap
Okay.
results or this is actually the PLS results?
Ma'am,
Are
it's
you
a
sure it is
PLS
bootstrap?
bootstrapping result. Yeah, ma'am. Bootstrap
Oh,
result.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
But it's something very different.
Okay, ma'am. I have one, Excel file also for it. So
Hmm.
should I show it, ma'am, or it is just invalid? Means I should try it again. Means it
No, you should try it
with
again.
yeah, ma'am.
Before trying it again, you please
Mhm.
see why you have modeled it as formative.
Okay, fine, ma'am. I'll
You
go through
just
it.
concentrate on the model. You go
Okay,
through
okay.
it. Why you have made it as formative? Why you made this as all reflective? Because you might not know
Mhm.
what is reflective and formative in the first case. But even
Mhm.
when you refer the YouTube, you just go
Mhm.
and check why they are making it as formative, why they are making it as reflective. And then you make the model and then you run.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
That would be better. Don't do like
For sure,
this.
ma'am. For
Okay.
sure, ma'am.
Then it will,
I just,
it's like you will get
uh,
confused.
yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. I learned a lot with today's
Thank you.
session, with the yesterday's session. That's why
No,
I just
yeah, thank
thought
you.
I
Thank
should
you.
show it to you, so that I can, get some clarity on it. Whether it is because it was in my mind also. Okay, why these values are coming? I feel it is not valid, but no
No,
one was there.
you see
So
the
I can.
YouTube and do it. And if you need any help, please ping me. I am open to help you. That's not a problem at all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Okay,
ma'am.
but see for formative and reflective, and then we can discuss about this. That
Sure,
would
ma'am.
be
Sure,
better.
ma'am. I'll go through
Huh?
it. Sure, ma'am. Thank you
Yes.
so much,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. You are a research scholar?
Yeah, ma'am. I am a research scholar with Sharda
Oh,
University.
oh.
So I was working on my
Okay. Very.
synopsis.
Uh,
That's why I was just
oh,
trying all these
you
things.
are you a full-time research scholar over there?
No, ma'am. I'm actually assistant professor with GLA University. So
Okay,
just
then it would be very challenging for you to balance both. Okay, I understand.
actually, actually,
Yeah, of
thank
course.
you,
That would
thank
be
you so much.
challenging. But anyway, you are giving your level best and you are in the process of learning. That is appreciate. That is, I much appreciate on this. I'm very
Thank,
happy to see people like this who wanted to learn. And keep
thank
up
you
the
so much.
attitude. That attitude will raise you to levels.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
all
ma'am.
the best. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, bye. Take